Hello, everyone. My name is Willie. I'm going to be presenting our PowerPoint today, carrying the torch, reducing child labor and shipbreaking in Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a developing nation that lies between India and Myanmar. As the nation grows, there is a high demand for infrastructure, for steel. A beached German tanker ship off the coast of Chattogram, a coastal division, gave rise to the shipbreaking industry, wherein retired commercial vessels are beached and dismantled for their raw materials. Shipbreaking labor is considered one of the world's deadliest occupations, and 1 in 4 workers in this region are children. We propose a 1-year trial of a conditional cash transfer program. Our program seeks to remove children from shipbreaking labor in Kumira, a satellite to Chattogram proper, and simultaneously increase enrollment in primary education, as well as determine whether monetary aid is adequate to reducing child labor or if social sentiments still hinder progress. Like many developing nations, child labor is a normal part of life in Bangladesh. It's necessary for a child's family and social status. Eliminating child labor is key to reducing poverty as education leads to better outcomes. A notable effort that serves as partial inspiration for our policy is the 1995 Bangladesh Memorandum of Understanding on Child Labor in the Garment Industry. This MOU was a joint effort by multiple organizations to transition child laborers out of garment factories and into education programs. Children are more desirable due to them being willing to work in worse conditions for lower pay, and they are unable to unionize. A key dynamic in the shipbreaking industry is that it is not only a large supplier of employment, but also one of the nation's only sources of iron and steel. Taking these factors into mind, it is clear that the demand for cheap child labor is high. Bangladesh is facing challenges like financial constraints and bureaucratic inefficiencies, but has the opportunity to increase the number of school enrollments and achieve long-term economic growth. On the coast of Bangladesh, within the Chattogram division, lie dozens of shipbreaking yards where large deep-sea vessels go to be dismantled. These yards employ local and immigrant labor. Much of it is induced by debt bondage practices, and of this labor, around 25% are children, boys 14 to 18, even some as young as 10. Households affected by poverty are reliant on their child's income, an obstacle to providing them with the primary education. Poor households are also scouted for child labor in exchange for a cash advance to the family. This advance becomes a shackle, as the child must now work for years in the shipyards to pay off this loan. These factors, in combination with the exogenous effect of a low social sentiment towards primary education, need to be combated. Cash transfer programs can change the future of children in poverty. We can see how they have made an impact in Mexico and Bangladesh. In Mexico, the Progresa program helped ease extreme poverty by providing cash benefits to families on one condition: their children must attend school and visit health clinics. This led to a significant increase in attendance at school, as well as reducing child labor, though this did benefit boys slightly more than girls. In Bangladesh, a social safety net program lowered child labor by up to 2.9%. However, it did also increase early school dropouts, mostly due to economic struggles. Over the years, their school retention has improved. On the other hand, conditional cash transfers in Bangladesh had a major impact on nutrition, reducing child malnutrition by 40% and increasing awareness about proper infant care. Inspired by initiatives like PESP, Oportunidades, and PKH, this conditional cash transfer policy aims to reduce child labor and shipbreaking and improve education outcomes for children in Kumira Chattogram. Targeting boys aged 8 to 14 who are most vulnerable to shipyard labor, the intervention will identify qualifying households based on income, proximity to shipyards, and child labor involvement. 300 qualifying households will be divided into 3 risk categories: high likelihood of child labor or debt bondage, medium likelihood, and low likelihood. Each category will have a recipient and control group. Recipient households will receive a monthly stipend of $100 per boy and school supply vouchers. Households in debt bondage will also have their debts settled. Stipends are conditional on 85% school attendance with penalties for noncompliance. The local school will distribute the stipends inspired by the primary education stipend program. In order to acquire adequate data, we will be providing aid for 1 year to the selected households. This time period is justified by the pre-existence of many cash aid and family assistance programs in Bangladesh such as the Primary Education Stipend Program, the National Social Safety Net Program, and Income Support Program for the Poorest, to name a few. Many families qualify for multiple aid programs, and we want to minimize any disturbance or complications qualifying caused by the aid offered to recipient households. 1 year will provide 2 semesters worth of data to observe the effects our policy has had on child labor and education compared to the control group, including return to labor, household income, education attendance, and family sentiment towards education. Our sample of 300 households is homogeneous enough to conduct random sampling when selecting the recipient households. Effects of the aid over the year of the policy's trial period will be observed by comparing the rate of children entering or re-entering shipbreaking labor as well as the rate of school attendance. Our methodology behind splitting the qualifying households into 3 groups is to use a household's current proximity and involvement in the shipbreaking industry as a proxy for the likelihood of child labor. Due to the short duration of the trial period, our analysis will seek positive or negative trends based on attendance and labor entry re-entry. These trends will use Bangladesh's national progress towards increasing education and reducing child labor as a baseline rate to compare our findings to. Results will be based on findings from comparing the recipient groups for each category against their corresponding control group. We hope to find an increase in the percentage of students enrolled full-time, as well as a reduction in child labor rate. We expect a 10 to 20-point increase in full-time enrollment among children in the high likelihood group, and smaller gains of 5 to 10 points for the other groups. We project a 10% increase in daily attendance across all groups. If no children were to return to labor by the end of the trial period, we could expect a 2.5% reduction of child labor and shipbreaking for the Camira area. It is unlikely that all participants will be able to solely attend school, especially for the high likelihood group, and so we anticipate a greater shift toward informal and part-time labor for this group when compared to the others. On our table 1 here shows the school attendance by age and sex. Bangladesh in 2004 for females, the highest attendance rate is at age 8, which is 93%, and for males at age 9, 90%. Beyond those ages, school attendance rate gradually declines for both genders to upper 40% by age 15. One of the expected results is to increase the amount of students attending schools on the ages between 10 and 18 for both genders. Even though the data is from 2004, the country has developed the same pattern through the years until now. Some of the key challenges of this policy include ensuring consistent student enrollment, recruiting households due to stricter participation requirements, and transitioning adolescent boys back into education, as many may see work as more valuable than schooling. Other potential drawbacks include misuse and fraud, which can be addressed by monitoring cash transfers and using digital payments. There is also the risk of increased informal child labor, which can be countered by stronger labor law enforcement and community awareness. Fiscal sustainability can be ensured through diversified funding, while the readiness of the education system can be improved by partnering with local schools. The Ministry of Labor and Employment in Bangladesh set the minimum monthly wage for apprentice shipbreaking workers at 8 to 12,000 taka, which is around 70 to 100 US dollars. With an estimated 14,000 child laborers in Chittagong shipbreaking yards and 700 children at risk in Kumira, our study will focus on a sample of 150 children. Each will receive a stipend of $100 per month, totaling $15,000 per month for the 150 children. For households with 2 or more boys in shipbreaking, both children will receive the stipend. Additionally, 20% of households are expected to be in debt bondage, requiring an estimated $3,000 for debt repayment. The total budget for the first year of the program will be 190,000 American dollars, which includes initial household surveying, debt repayments, and the monthly stipends. As there are many local and national aid programs pre-existing in Bangladesh, our primary consideration is that the introduction of a new CCT program may disqualify already pre-qualified households for certain programs due to the increase in income. Participation in child labor goes against the Bangladesh Labor Act and International Labor Organization's conventions. Our fear is that identifying and publicizing the involvement of a given child in labor may create legal consequences for their parents, potentially canceling out any benefits of the policy. To mitigate this risk, direct coordination with government enforcement bodies will be intentionally limited. At first, implementing our policy would have a slower start, as the policy is first being introduced but still adding significant gains for the first year. But then the full effects take place and the education and jobs market section of the economy begin to see positive results around the second year in our projections. Where education really sees a boost, these members and this model don't dictate exact results or outcomes since the future is unpredictable, but an estimate of what would take place if the policy were to be implemented into Bangladesh. With our policy implemented, child labor will be reduced and a healthier and positive workforce will recreate Bangladesh's economy as seen on our chart. To sum up our research, Bangladesh's societal norms and ecosystems need deep changes from their current state in order to discourage child labor. Our policy proposal would make the changes needed to put Bangladesh on the right track economically. We want to invest in the children of Bangladesh to brighten the future of this beautiful country. Thank you guys for watching today.